Welcome to another episode of our series on It Is What It Is. Today we are going to see the anomalies in the brain. Brain is a critical organ in our whole life, not only our body. It controls the whole of our body, and all the things we see, sense are through our brain. The image is created in the brain. The whole life impressions are formed in the brain. So that leads our life, our day-to-day life. So we have to depend everything on the brain. So is it so perfect? So that we have given a prime importance to it. Let us see that in this article. In this episode, we will see whatever the brain tells us is real, but we see some of the anomalies. It's not so perfect. One Dr. V.S. Ramachandran has done a lot of research on this. So in this episode, we will be seeing mostly about his work. Villanur Ramachandran was born in 1951 in Tamil Nadu, India. He is staying in San Diego, California. He is a professor in the University of California, and he is a director in the Center of Brain and Cognition. He is alma mater MBBS at the University of Madras, Chennai, PhD from the University of Cambridge. He is known for neurology, visual perception, phantom limb, synesthesia, autism, body integrity identity disorder, and he has won notable awards: Ariane Scapus Medal from Royal Netherlands Academy of Sciences, the Padma Bhushan from the President of India, BBC Rife Lectures 2003, elected to a visiting fellowship at All Souls College, Oxford in 1998. Ramachandran is noted for his use of experimental methods that rely relatively little on complex technologies such as neuroimaging. Despite the apparent simplicity of his approach, Ramachandran has generated many new ideas about the brain. Ramachandran is the author of several books that have garnered widespread public interest. These include Phantoms in the Brain and more recent in 1999, and more recently Telltale Brain in 2010. Phantom limb is an organ or leg that lingers indefinitely in the minds of the patients long after it has been lost in an accident or removed by surgeons. Some wake up from anesthesia and they are incredulous when they are told that their arm had been sacrificed, because they still vividly feel its presence. Only when they look under the sheets do they come to the shocking realization that the limb is really gone. Moreover, some of these patients experience excruciating pain in the phantom arm, hand or fingers, so much so that they contemplate suicide. The pain is not only unrelenting, it is also untreatable. No one has the foggiest idea of how it arises or how to deal with it. The eminent Philadelphia physician Slesware Mitchell first coined the phrase phantom limb after the Civil War. What is unexplained in all this? Let us see that. There are literally hundreds of fascinating case studies which appear in the older medical journals. Some of the described phenomena have been confirmed repeatedly and still cry out for an explanation, whereas others seem like far-fetched products of writer's own imagination. One of my favorites is about a patient who started experiencing a vivid phantom arm soon after amputation. Nothing unusual so far, but after a few weeks developed a peculiar gnawing sensation in his phantom. Naturally, he was quite puzzled by the sudden emergence of these new sensations. But when he asked the physician why this was happening, the doctor did not know and could not help. Finally, out of curiosity, the fellow asked, "What happened to my arm after you removed it?" "Good question," replied the doctor. "You need to ask the surgeon." So the fellow called the surgeon, who said, "Oh, we usually send the limbs to the morgue." So the man called the morgue and asked, "What do you do with amputated arms?" They replied, We sent them either to incinerator or to pathology, usually incinerate them. Well, what did you do with this particular arm, with my arm? They looked at the records and said, it's funny. We did not incinerate it. We sent it to pathology. The man called the pathology lab. Where is my arm? He asked again. They said, well, we had too many arms, so we just buried it in the garden out behind the hospital. They took him to the garden and showed him where the arm was buried. When he exhumed it, he found it was crawling with maggots and explained, well, maybe that's why I'm feeling these bizarre sensations in my arm. So he took the limb and incinerated it, and from that day on, his phantom pain disappeared. So what about this? This is one story where it's surprisingly that amputated arm was connected with the phantom image he had in his brain. So that is unexplainable. And next is, what is the solution and what is the solution? Let us see this. In 1984, Philip was hurled off his motorcycle going at 45 miles an hour down the San Diego freeway. He skidded across the median, landed at the foot of a concrete bridge, and Philip's left arm had been severely torn near his shoulder. The nerve supplying his arm had been yanked off the spinal column. His left arm was completely paralyzed and lay lifeless in a sling for 1 year. Finally, the doctors advised amputation. The arm was just getting in the way and would never function. 10 years later, Philip walked into my office. Now in his mid-30s, he collects a disability benefit and has made a rather impressive reputation for himself as a pool player, known among his friends as the one-armed bandit. Philip had heard about my experiments with phantom limbs in local press reports. He was desperate. Dr. Ramchandran, he said, I'm hoping you can help me. He glanced down at the missing arm. I lost it 10 years ago, but ever since I had a terrible pain in my phantom elbow, wrist and fingers. Interviewing him further, I discovered that during the decade, Philip had never been able to move his phantom arm. It was always fixed in an awkward position. Was Philip suffering from a learned paralysis? If so, could we use our virtual reality box to resurrect the phantom visually and restore the movements? I asked Philip to replace his right hand on the right side of the mirror in the box and imagine that is the left hand, the phantom was on the left side. I want you to move to the right and move your right and left arm simultaneously. I said, oh, I can't do that. I can move my right arm, but my left arm is frozen. Every morning when I get up, I try to move my phantom because it is in the funny position and I feel that moving it might help relieve the pain. But, he said, looking down the invisible arm, I have never been able to generate a flicker of movement in it. Okay, Philip, but try anyway. Philip rotated his body, shifting his shoulder to insert his lifeless phantom into the box. Then he put his right hand on the other side of the mirror and attempted to make synchronous movements. As he gazed into the mirror, he gasped and cried, oh my God, doctor, this is unbelievable. It is mind-boggling. He was like a kid. My left arm is plugged in again. It is as if I am in the past. All these memories from so many years ago are flooding back into my mind. I can move my arm again. I can feel my elbow moving, my wrist moving. It's all moving again. After he calmed down a little, I said, okay, Philip, now close your eyes. Oh my, clearly disappointed. It's frozen again. I feel my right hand moving, but there is no movement in the phantom. Open your eyes. Oh yes, now it is moving again. It was as though Philip had some temporary inhibition or block in the neural circuits that would ordinarily move the phantom, and the visual feedback had overcome this block. More amazing still, these bodily sensations of the arm's movements were revived instantly, even though they had never been felt in the preceding 10 years. I went back to the next day and asked Philip, are you willing to take this device home and practice with it? Sure, I would love to take it home. I find it very exciting that I can move my arm again, even if only momentarily. So Philip took mirror home. A week later, I telephoned him. What is happening? Oh, it's fun, doctor. I use it for 10 minutes every day. I put my hand inside, wave it around and see how it feels. My girlfriend, I play with it. It is very enjoyable. But when I close my eyes, it still does not work. And if I don't use the mirror, it does not work. I know you want my phantom to start moving again, but without mirror, it does not. 3 more weeks passed until one day Philip called me, very excited and agitated. Doctor, he exclaimed, it is gone. What is gone? I thought maybe he had lost his mirror box. My phantom is gone. What are you talking about? My phantom arm, which I had 10 years. it does not exist anymore. All I have is my phantom fingers and my palm dangling from my shoulder. My immediate reaction was, oh no, I have apparently permanently altered a person's body image using a mirror. How would this affect his mental state and well-being? Philip, does it bother you? No, 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 no. He said, on the contrary, you know the excruciating pain I always had in my elbow, the pain that tortured me several times a week. Well, now I don't have an elbow and I don't have that pain anymore. But I still have my fingers dangling from my shoulder and they still hurt, he paused, apparently to let this sink in. Unfortunately, he said, your mirror bug does not work anymore because my fingers are up too high. Can you change the design to eliminate my fingers? Philip seemed to think that I was some kind of a magician. I was not sure I could help Philip with this request, but I realized that this was probably the first example in medical history of a successful amputation of a phantom limb. The experiment suggests that when Philip's right parietal lobe was presented with conflicting signals, visual feedback telling him that his arm is moving again, while his muscles are telling him that the arm is not there. His mind resorted to a form of denial. The only way his beleaguered brain could deal with this bizarre sensory conflict was to say, to hell with it, there is no arm. And as a huge bonus, Phillips lost the associated pain in his phantom elbow as well. For it may be impossible to experience a disembodied pain in a non-existent phantom. It's not clear why his fingers did not disappear, but one reason might be that they are overrepresented, like the huge lips on the pen field map in the somatosensory cortex, and it may be difficult to deny. So what is the conclusion? Now just think about what all this means. For your entire life, you have been walking around assuming that your self is anchored into a single body that remains stable and permanent at least until death. Indeed, the loyalty of yourself to your own body is so axiomatic that you never even pause to think about it, let alone question it. Yet these experiments suggest that the exact opposite, that your body image, despite all its appearance of durability, is an entirely transitory internal construct that can be profoundly modified with just a few simple tricks. It is merely a shell that you have temporarily created for successfully passing on your genes to your offspring. So that is the conclusion. Please remember that this body construct is our own image. The brain imagines that. It is a transitory internal construct that is profoundly modified with this, can be modified with few simple tricks. It's merely a shell that we have temporarily created. Okay, that is the important conclusion. So I'll give the reference in the end. Stay with me for oncoming episodes. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.